and let us all do we can to build a better future.
All right, but with that being said, let's get started with our next story. Daniel, you got a story for the people. What is going on?
Okay, so shifting over to Portland, you know, that place that is in Oregon that there is a show named after, you know the place. So there's a new thing going on, which is the Portland police are just going and arresting journalists by telling them they're not journalists, which is genius logic because, of course, it makes a lot of sense if just any enforcer can tell you whether or not you are in a profession or not. So before I even go into this, I want to have a video that we're going to play, and then I'm going to go over the actual story and the details of what happened after. But I think it's sort of, you want to see it to imagine it so that I can talk about it. And I think we have that going. There we go, right about here. So if you can see, they are arresting someone in the foreground.
Back up. Back up.
Telling them to back up.
Back up. Back up. Back up. You want to be pressed, you get to obey the law.
And so everything's under control. Everyone's moved back.
Excuse me, the fuck?
Just arrest him.
What am I under arrest for? What am I under arrest for? I have a right to know what I'm under arrest for. I was not trespassing. I was not trespassing. I was on public property.
Her, 1061.
Oh, come on.
Just took him out, just like that, with impunity.
They're gonna take you in.
Who's next to get shot 7 times in the back, huh? Which of you cops are going to do that to somebody who's unarmed, huh?
And they arrest him. Okay, we can end it there. So
Stupid.
So that guy was arrested for the terrible crime of filming stuff with other people in the press. This is something that's going on. So let's just go over the article now. So this video is involved in it, but it's also other stuff that you can check out on your own by looking at the show notes. So 2 independent journalists were labeled fake press, which is a little reminiscent of what Trump would tell the press, which is quite interesting, by a Portland Police Bureau. And also the Portland police have a very interesting history with Trump. I'm just pointing out connections as I see them. With a Portland Police Bureau sergeant who arrested them for trespassing. That was the actual charge they gave them while they stood on a public sidewalk, which is sort of the antithesis of trespassing because it's a public sidewalk. And that's what the video evidence shows. That's part of what we just saw. So a photographer, Sean Bascom, who is white, had his camera gear released to him after less than an hour in custody inside the Bureau's North Precinct on January 5th. Milton Waldrop, a popular black live streamer who uses the name PDX Ninja, so he must be like a Twitch streamer or something, said police seized as evidence the cell phone he uses to record video, a mobile hotspot, his self-defense equipment, and other supplies. Authorities declined to comment on the disparity in treatment, citing ongoing litigation regarding members of the press covering civil unrest. Bascom and Waldrop face identical charges, trespassing and interfering with a police officer. Again, they're on public. The charges are made up. Let's just go with what's really happening. Anyway, so we're interfering. The both men wear goggles and labels identifying themselves as media. Waldrop's live stream shows he was arrested while standing across the street from the North Precinct on Killingsworth Street sidewalk. The sergeant, his rank indicated by the 3 chevron insignia on his sleeve, said, quote, "You're not press." Isn't it amazing that you can be a journalist and as soon as the cop says you're not, all of a sudden you're not? Isn't that a really, really dictatorial way of running the world?
That's not smart.
Everyone that agrees with me is press. Everyone that disagrees, no. Wouldn't that be great if you can just go to any cop? I don't like you. You're no longer a cop. See how that works out.
Yeah, that's not. You're not going to be walking too long.
Yeah. So Bascom was arrested a few minutes later while also standing on the far side of the street. He said the sergeant, whose helmet number is 506, pointed him out to other officers before telling him he was not press. Again, it's very dictatorial. You're not press. Hey, people watching this video, you don't exist. I don't know. It seems weird to me. The sergeant was certain I was fake press in his mind, Bascom said, noting that any protest arrest, regardless of the legal outcome, comes with a paper trail and exposure to online harassment, because everyone forgets. Everyone's like, oh no, these lefties are going after. If you get arrested by the police and you're journalists, guess what allies of the police you're going to be making friends with online. Bascom's arrest was filmed by a local reporter, Justin Wu. At the time of the arrest, he was clearly on the sidewalk taking photos, he told the Tribune. So there you have it. We have a lot going on. We have all this stuff we're talking about that's an issue in the Capitol. Yet here we have, other side of the country, you have police telling press that they're not allowed to be press in their presence, and I don't see a huge news presence. This was a rather local story. I guess if just, I don't know, maybe some of the squad were there and they also got arrested, this would have been a big story, because then they would have said something. Maybe if Nancy was there and she got arrested, this would have been a big story.
You're expecting Nancy to get up.
But
chair, she's not
because it's just some local journalists, not a big national story, no one cares, move along.
This is rather frightening. I'm going to keep my response short and simple. We actually have press passes
Yep.
here in the state of Illinois, city of Chicago. And you know,
Ironically, we get them through the police.
yeah, you get them through Chicago Police Department. So, you know, it's just interesting, because then if who knows how that situation will play out if the press passes are shown, like, hey, look, we got our press passes. But I mean, this is
No, you don't.
Oh, I don't. Oh, so that means you and me waited for who knows how long just to get ourselves situated. Because, you know, what no one knows, like when the first process of getting our press passes,
Yeah.
Daniel, you had to
I
wait
had
like
to go
eight to 9 months for that.
It was a very long process to get in. I am now the registered agent for Hard Lens.
Yeah.
But once that happened, it was somewhat easy to get everyone else. Only 3 month wait.
And then it's easier, much easier than to get your stuff renewed. But
Yeah.
it's very interesting that can happen, and it's a time to be a little bit concerned, because if they can dictate who is press and who is not press, we're in some trouble. So my only advice I could say is, if you are interested in getting involved in media or independent media, make sure you get the proper credentials. Maybe that will protect you. But in this day and age, who knows?
To get the proper credentials, you first have to prove that you are a journalistic organization
Yeah,
in
that's
order
true.
to get credentials to be part of a journalistic organization. So do it. And I don't know what it is in your place where you're going with. In Chicago, there's a process that took us a while to find.
a very red taped maze process.
Yeah, especially the first step. But it's actually been, and so, you know, we get to go to places and film certain things as members of press, but that those guys were also wearing that same stuff. So
Yeah. So
and
who-
I
so-
remember in like the summer, not summer, a year ago summer, there was those protests in the Chicago police, and the police were hitting the Tribune people, and all of a sudden the Tribune were like, I had no idea the police were this aggressive.
Who knew? So